All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Jamu,
Present.
Commissioner Johnson, absent. Commissioner Perez,
Present.
Chairperson Condit.
Here. All right, can you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, move on to citizens communication. While the Ceres Planning Commission welcomes and encourages participation in the Planning Commission meetings, adopted rules allow no more than 5 minutes for expression of non-agenda items. Matters under the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public. However, California law prohibits the Planning Commission from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be emergency by the Planning Commission. Citizens are entitled to address the Planning Commission on any agenda item subject to the 5-minute provision. I do have one card. Milt, if you want to come up.
Yes, good evening, Planning Commissioners, staff, and community members. Milt Treeweiler, I'm a lifetime Stanislaus County resident. And again, I have some important information to share. The prime farmland around the city of Ceres is a natural resource that cannot be replaced or mitigated because of its unique nature, its quality soils, its water availability, and its good climate. There's no other farmland like this on the earth. There is a major shortage of sustainable prime farmland and water in the world today. We know now that here in the San Joaquin Valley, we will need to remove almost 1 million acres of farmland south of Stanislaus County from food production because there's not enough water to irrigate it. Commissioners, staff, and public members, we have many things to be concerned about today. We have to be very careful about who we listen to and what we believe. There are people here in Stanislaus County that are plotting to destroy the future for our children and our descendants. As the planning commissioners and staff, you must be strong and do the right thing to save the sustainable farmland around your city for your children and descendants. There is an abundance of poor soils and wastelands in California and our nation for the developers to build houses on, like the Altamont Pass area. There's also the large landmass area west of Patterson along Interstate 5 and east of Fairfield along Highway 12 all the way to Rio Vista. We also have the entire states of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado for the developers to build houses on. In Ceres, we must build up and not out on the city's infill land and blighted areas. Commissioners, you must never allow the sustainable prime farmland around the city of Ceres to be developed. Not in 10 years, not in 20 years, not in 50 years, not ever. Yes, I said not ever, because there's no other sustainable farmland like this in the world. The farmland surrounding the city of Ceres is fully economically developed. It's producing food for our state and our nation. We're adults and parents, and we have an obligation to do what's right and best for our children and descendants. We must all be good stewards. How could educated and caring people be so cold-hearted and irresponsible to want to destroy the best farmland on earth? You don't get a second chance. Once you turn sustainable prime farmland into housing, you create a food desert. Commissioners, staff, and community members, we must all be committed to saving this irreplaceable farmland for your children and descendants. I know I've spoken to you before, and I'm speaking again. I'm going to practically every city and group that has governing experience or governing abilities in Stanislaus County, especially in the MID and TID irrigation districts. And that's because in the MID and TID irrigation districts, we have all the water we need to water this land for hundreds of years. And you know just what I said, they're going to be fallowing or taking out of production land south of here because there's not enough water for it. If you listen to the news at all, you also know that if you go to Iran, they have been in their capital, they have had a drought for 6 years now. They have a population of 10 million people, and they don't have enough water. It's happening all over the world, not here. If you look at the average temperatures that's happening here on our Earth, they're getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And we're getting more and more droughts. So it's a very serious condition. It's something we have to take, be very aware of, and we have to work to preserve this farmland because we have the best. We didn't plan it that way. It's just the way it is. I mean, I was born here in Stanislaus County 80 years ago. I didn't know I was going to be in the county that had the best farmland on earth, but I am, and it is. You're the ones who make the decisions. You want to make good decisions and save this farmland for our children and our descendants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close citizens' communication. Move on to conflict of interest. Is there anyone on the Planning Commission that would like to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be enacted by one single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual commissioner or the public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by roll call vote. Anybody on the commission that would like to pull an item for further discussion? I'm going to pull 4 and 5. Anybody in the public that would like to pull an item? Okay, seeing none, go ahead and bring it back to the commission for a motion. So I'll motion item 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we got a first and a second.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second on items 1, 2, and 3. Better get a roll call.
Commissioner Jamu,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Chairperson Condit.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, item 4, staff, I had a question on the reasoning for the extension. I don't know if the applicant's here or not, but was just curious on.
I don't believe the applicant is here. The reasoning for this one is, I believe they just didn't have enough time in the 2-year period to submit for the final map, prepare and submit for the final map. The code allows for a 90-day administrative extension or up to 2 years with Planning Commission approval.
Okay. And then would you say the same for the item 5 as well, or?
Number 5, they did provide some justification with interest rates and financing reasons and things finally coming down, they'll be able to construct.
And just to confirm, this was both items, it was their first extension?
That is correct. This is their first extension.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission on these 2 items?
I do. I see that all 3 of these items are being asked to be exempt from CEQA regulations. How often does that happen? The CEQA exemptions? It just seems like kind of a thing that happens a lot with many of the items that come before us.
Yes, absolutely. So the first 2 items 4 and 5, and then I think I'll pause on 6 until my presentation to go over that one. But items 4 and 5, anything, so under CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act, anything that's a project is subject to the provisions of CEQA. CEQA is a 300+ page piece of legislation. There are what are called exemptions. So if you meet certain criteria, you are exempt from additional environmental review. So for items 4 and 5, they were originally analyzed under CEQA for what's called a Class 32 infill exemption, and that's for projects that are being developed completely in compliance with the general plan and the zoning ordinance and are less than 5 acres, won't have significant impacts, completely surrounded by urban development. Therefore, they're exempt, right? They're just an infill project that's exempt. But the extensions are still a project under CEQA. Okay. So what we did with these ones is we did the it's called a common sense exemption. It's section 1562 of CEQA guidelines. And that's saying that the project, since the original CEQA that was done, which was the exemption, the project does not introduce any new or significant impacts beyond what was already analyzed. Therefore, you can see with there's no possibility of a significant impact. It's the exact same project.
Okay, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
All right. Anybody in the audience would like to comment on items 4 or 5? All right. Oh, yep. Mr. Warren?
Thank you. John Warren, City of Ceres. My question is the property here, and I didn't look at the staff report. I've been kind of busy this week doing things, and I just glanced tonight. But is that 2830 Morgan Road address? Is that where the AMP station is at the intersection of Service and Morgan? Or is it further up?
It's Morgan and Kinzer.
Morgan intersects Service Road.
No, this is further up towards Kinzer Road. By Kinzer Road.
I don't understand you.
It's Morgan and Kinzer, the intersection of Morgan and Kinzer.
Oh, and Kinzer.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. That answered my question.
Thank you. Anybody else?
And to clarify, Mr. Warren, that was agenda item number 4, right?
Anybody else for public comment? All right. Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a motion on items 4 and 5.
If we can motion separately, that'd be
Okay.
great.
All right.
All right. Motion to approve item 4 with the extension for 2 years.
Second.
We get a roll call?
Commissioner Jamu,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Chairperson Condit.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Do we need to take item 5 out to the public? Okay. All right. Looking for a motion on item 5.
Motion to approve item 5 for project extension as well for the self-storage.
Second.
Get a roll call?
Commissioner Jamu,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Chairperson Condit.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
All right. Moving on to public hearing, item number 6. Turn it over to staff.
Is there a clicker for the presentation? Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. Kelsey George, Contract Planner. Tonight's public hearing is for an administrative use permit, which is designated by the city as 2533 AUP to allow the operation of a small recycling center at 1832 Mitchell Road. Next. The facility would consist of a recycling collection container not to exceed 500 square feet. It will operate entirely within the paved parking lot of an existing commercial center, which currently includes a gas station, a convenience store, and an oil change business. And just for the Commission's awareness, recycling containers of this size are allowed as an accessory use in the highway commercial zone without Commission approval. However, this request is being presented because a recent recycling container was reviewed by the Commission and staff wants to maintain consistency. Next. This aerial image shows the location at Mitchell Road within the commercial corridor. Surrounding uses are primarily highway commercial to the north, south, and west, with community commercial to the east. The site layout supports easy customer access while remaining compatible with the surrounding commercial activity. Zoning code conformance. So as mentioned, the zoning for this is highway commercial or HC, which supports retail and service uses intended for the traveling public. The Ceres Municipal Code allows recycling centers up to 500 square feet in size as an accessory use in the HC zone. The proposed recycling container contributes a complementary service to existing commercial uses and does not change the site's overall circulation or intensity. General plan conformance, the site has a highway commercial general plan land use designation, which supports commercial uses near the highway interchange and serves motorists and the local community. This is a very small project, so there's not a ton of programs or policies that it does meet, but generally speaking, the project advances the following general plan goals. Goal 2G, which promotes compatible commercial uses and economic vitality, and goals 7A and 7E, which supports a wide range of economic activity and fiscal sustainability while maintaining essential services. The project adds a public service component, which is recycling, to an already active shopping center without requiring new development or infrastructure. Excuse me, next. So on the screen and in your agenda packet is the site plan, which shows the recycling container positioned within the existing parking area. It's on the north end there. This placement minimizes disruption to circulation patterns and parking supply. The operation is self-contained. There's no grading, utilities, lighting, or site improvements that are proposed. Any future change to the size or configuration beyond 500 feet would require further review. Additionally, the approval is valid for a year following the final inspection. At that time, staff can determine whether the applicant will have the option of renewing the permit or not. So that's actually a condition of approval to see how it works in the site. And these are just general photos. I'm sure everybody's kind of seen how these recycling centers work and operate, but this is what is proposed. The facility is not expected to generate noise, odor, or visual impact beyond normal commercial activity. And the operator is responsible for maintaining the container, keeping the area clean, and ensuring regular transport of collected materials. So before I get into my recommendation, I'll speak a little bit further on the CEQA for this one. So this project is also found to be categorically exempt pursuant to section 15332, which is that infill development. And there's 4 or 5 different criteria that's met for that. It's under 5 acres. It's surrounded by urban uses. There's no traffic, bio, or cultural impacts. And it is consistent with the general plan. So anything that requires like a general plan amendment is definitionally not a categorical exemption. So with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt 2 actions, which is find the project categorically exempt under CEQA section 15332 infill development, and adopt a resolution approving administrative use permit 2533 for the recycling center up to 500 square feet at 1821 Mitchell Road. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
Thank you very much. Anybody from the commission, questions?
Again, did you say that it didn't need to go through planning commission?
Yeah, the municipal code actually specifically calls out recycling containers up to 500 square feet as an accessory use to existing commercial uses. So if it was a vacant lot and it was only a commercial, or it was only a recycling container, it would be a site plan approval, but in a developed parcel, it's an accessory use to that development. It's not like a separate lot or anything like that.
Take it out to the public. Any members of the public that would like to comment on this item? Mr. Warren?
Good evening. John Warren, City of Ceres. Probably already know the answer to the question. It does fall within the allowed usage. But I want to point out that the City of Ceres already has quite a number of recycling locations. And I was going to ask the question if we knew how many the city has already.
I don't have that number handy. I don't believe Julian does either, but we can absolutely look into that.
So when we're bringing something new to the city, I think it's really important that we know how many of them there already are. There's one behind the Sequoia Market. And there's one over off of Moffett and Service. And there was one behind the taqueria there at Mitchell and Hatch. I don't know if they're still there. And there's a new one that's been operating for a while off of Angie, on Angie Court across from the marijuana place behind Sassy Nails. And when we put this one in that location, you're putting it in direct conflict with automobile traffic. If you look at the location of where it is, okay, it's right in line where the cars drive around to go into the car wash in the back. And when people drive in there to park to access the market, there's going to be a conflict with pedestrians and automobiles. And of course, the container is taking away several parking spots. I'm not sure if ADA compliant requires a handicap parking there for the new business. But I do know this, a large number of people that use these types of recycling places are on bicycles and or walking or pulling wagons. They're pedestrians. They're not driving in with their car and dropping stuff off as a general rule. Most of the folks in our communities use the blue cans to recycle. They put their plastics and their boxes and all that stuff in that blue recycling can. So the people that use these recycling places, a large percentage that I see of, are the people that are less fortunate in this world. They don't have a home and they're recycling to gain some money for their daily things. So it's not a bad idea, but it's a bad location. You're going to have a lot of people in there coming and going, mixed in with cars and traffic. And I think that's a disaster. And it's not a good place for it. The site behind on Angie is fairly good because it doesn't have a lot of automobile traffic coming and going. The place behind the Sequoia Market doesn't have a lot of automobile traffic coming and going. It's mostly pedestrians and people bringing large sacks of recyclables. In this location, you're mixing the two together, and that's not a good thing to do. There's already a car wash business there that generates a lot of automobile traffic. The gas pumps are there that generate a lot of automobile traffic. And of course, there's the convenience store that people use and coming and going and parking there. Probably from the picture that was posted, you could see the large number of automobiles that were there. So those are things that are considering when you make a vote on this. It's just not a good spot for it. There's probably some better locations. Thank you.
Any other members of the public that would like to comment on this item? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close.
Commissioner, the applicant is Spanish speaking only, so
Okay.
want me to ask her if she wants to say something.
Yeah, I think Rosalind is trying.
Señora, nomás quiere saber si usted quiere hablar sobre su... No? Not at this time.
Okay. Go ahead and close the public hearing for public comment, excuse me. Bring it back to the commission. Ms. George Wood, can you speak to Mr. Warren's comments as far as the specific location goes as it relates to traffic? Will that impede public safety in any way?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Warren, for your comments. The proposed container is not a permanent structure. It's not permanently affixed to the ground. It will require a building permit and everything like that. It's currently proposed in 3 parking stalls, but the center overall is overparked, meaning that those stalls do not take away from the parking requirement for the center itself. And being that it's in parking stalls, it is not anticipated to conflict with any drive aisles or traffic or things of that nature. You know, cars aren't driving in those parking stalls. If anything, they would be parking there if the container wasn't there. But there are, as Mr. Warren did point out, there are things that we just don't know. We can't possibly anticipate everything. So staff opted to add a condition that 1 year from their final inspection, they have to renew, and it would be like staff would have to make the determination to give them the option to renew. If it turns out that it's not working there, it is conflicting with traffic, it is problematic, they're not maintaining the site or things of that nature, we would deny that renewal.
All right. Any other questions from planning commissioners? All right. I will go ahead and make a motion to approve item 6.
Second that motion.
Got a first and a second. Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Jamu,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Chairperson Condit.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
All right. Moving on to new business, none. Matters initiated by the planning commission, none. Reports. Anybody got any reports? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn to our next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting on December 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m.